Okay, we're back again. Now, you probably recognize this. We're Dwayne and JC from the Debt Relief Show, and the reason we feel so comfortable with each other is because we've done this for eons. But if you don't recognize us from the Debt Relief Show, then I don't know where you've been hanging out for the last 5 years of our life. But we've talked about these things for a long time together, and that's why sometimes it may seem that we're a little flippant, but really it's just that talking about all this legal stuff is really pretty boring. For example, we're going to talk about when you file for bankruptcy, you have to list all of your assets, and we'll show you how boring it is. Ready? When you file bankruptcy, you have to list all assets.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I have to list, but I don't want it to be part of my bankruptcy.
Well, that's the problem that happens when some people come in. They'll ask us, can I file for bankruptcy and not list my
House,
car,
horse.
grandfather clock?
Okay, you win.
Good. What do you have to list when you file for bankruptcy?
Everything.
Literally. And you know what? All seriousness aside, there's been a recent decision here in Arizona
Terrible one, but still.
where basically some folks left their assets not listed, and they were assets that would have been protected if they had listed them and claimed them as an exemption on Schedule C. So the consequence was...
Not that you need to know what Schedule C is.
Right. Okay. As listed as an exemption on whatever schedule I said after that. It wouldn't matter. But the reality is very serious. You have to list all of your assets. And if you don't list them, there's no way as professionals that we're going to be able to advise you whether we should claim it as exempt or not. So we cannot overemphasize. Now,
So why? So what happens if you don't list an asset? Well, probably the worst things that could happen, Lenny Dykstra, is you could lose your discharge in bankruptcy, so you don't get the benefit of the bankruptcy. And if you're really egregious, Lenny Dykstra, you could end up with a huge fine and maybe even jail time.
JC, stop calling me Lenny. The reality is failure to disclose your assets could be prosecuted criminally. But even more problematic is if you were able to protect it before and you didn't list it, the courts aren't going to let you claim that exemption and that protection.
Yeah. So something that you could have protected if you just listed it, now you can't protect it all, and you could easily lose it to the trustee.
So it's real important that you look at all of the real estate holdings you hold. I said hold twice.
You did. Not even ones that are outside the United States.
It's still a real estate
outside Arizona.
holding.
Yeah.
Okay, so you list all assets wherever located, by whomever held. Okay, so we're talking most importantly here as a reminder for intangible assets. People don't think about their investment accounts, or maybe something that great-granddad, well, that's kind of a ways back, grandfather left you and all of the other grand-siblings. Is that even a word?
Something like that.
Okay, so look around it and think about any intangible assets that are out there. I actually had a client who came in to consult with me, and I had to ask him, do you have any of this? Do you have any of this? Do you have any of this? He filled out a packet. He still didn't list a piece of paper he had at home. And finally, I was asking him about stocks or certificates or investments. He said, well, I got this piece of paper that my mom left me when she passed away. Oh, well, what does it say on it? Oh, I'll bring it in. So where did she get it? Well, she got it from my dad in the 50s when he passed away. Well, go ahead and bring it in. He brought in a stock certificate that had split several times from General Electric Corporation.
Wow.
He owed $55,000 worth of debt, and that stock certificate, he went and cashed it in for $78,000. He didn't need to file for bankruptcy at all. If he had filed for bankruptcy, the trustee would have taken it, and he still would have had a bankruptcy in his credit report. So it's critical that you list all assets. It's critical that you really consider intangible assets or things that you might not even think of as an asset. For example, if your mom and dad put you on their real estate for estate planning purposes.
Or bank accounts.
Assets, okay? You need to talk to a competent, experienced consumer bankruptcy attorney like JC before you make any decision.
And I'll talk to Dwayne.
There we go. So list all of your assets. We can't implore you long enough. We can probably bore you long enough with this topic.
I
And we
think
probably
we're
already have.
probably to that point now.
Okay, but we've made the point. You really need to list every asset, no exception, no exclusion. If you have any question, ask your bankruptcy attorney.
It only protects you.
What he said.